Hi, this is Mrs. Kidman, and in this video, we're going to talk more about the quadratic formula. So in our last video, we actually derived the quadratic formula from standard form, and what it ends up being is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac all over 2a. Now notice how I get a little sing-songy tone to my voice. Every time we use the quadratic formula, we have to remember it. And so sometimes people learn the quadratic formula via song. I learned it to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? And some people learn it as a rap. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a, right? Something like that. Whatever your method is, make sure that you memorize this quadratic formula. It is a great tool because we can use it every single time to solve quadratics. Now, the quadratic formula is really special because it has this piece underneath our square root. This piece right here, this b squared minus 4ac, is actually called the discriminant. And it's called the discriminant because it discriminates between how many solutions there are going to be. Depending on what it comes out to be. So if our discriminant is positive, so again, our discriminant here is b squared minus 4ac. And that b, a, and c all come from the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So I have my quadratic, I substitute those numbers in, and then I figure out my answer. If it's positive, that means there are two real solutions. Okay, two real solutions. If it is 0, then that means there is one real solution. And if there's one real solution, we'll talk about tomorrow, but that actually means that we also have a complex solution. And then if it is negative, that means we have no real solutions. Okay, it's important that you specify that these are no real solutions because we do have complex or imaginary solutions, we just don't have any real ones. So using this idea, let's practice finding that discriminant, because if we find the discriminant, we can determine whether there's two solutions, one solution, or zero real solutions. And if there are no real solutions, we don't want to go through the whole process of finding that quadratic formula just to find out that it's going to be no real solutions. We'd rather you find the discriminant first to then determine if there are solutions, and if there are, let's just put this number under the square root and keep going. So let's practice finding the discriminant. So right here, remember, we're in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and our discriminant that we use is going to be b squared minus 4ac. And remember, if that's positive, there are two solutions. If it is negative, there are no real solutions. And if it is 0, then there is one real solution. So let's go ahead and calculate how many solutions there are for each of these. So let's do this first one all together. So I'm going to substitute these little ones in there just to help me. So I've got A, which is -1, B, which is +1, and C, which is -6. So let's go ahead and calculate our discriminant here. So I've got B squared minus 4 times my A value times my C value. Now I'm going to replace this B, A, and C with the numbers B, A, and C up here. So I've got A1 squared minus 4, A is -1, and C is -6. Now our A, B, and C are always going to include the sign in front of it. So now we've got 1, -4 times -1 is +4, 4 times -6 is -24, and that equals a -23. If it's negative, that means there are no real solutions. Fantastic. Okay, now let's try this next one here. So I'm going to put my numbers in. Notice how there's no C value here. Our C is a +0. So then we want to substitute this in just like we did before. Our B squared minus 4 times A times C. Again, B is 1. A is 1. B is -1. And C is going to be 0. So let's substitute those numbers right in. So B is -1. Minus 4 times A times C. Perfect. -1 squared is going to be 1. Minus 4 times 1, which is -4. And that times 0 is 0, so minus 0 equals 1. Well, it's positive, so that means I have 2 real solutions. Now, I want you to figure out the number of solutions for this last one on your own. So remember to use our discriminant. So we need to substitute in our b squared minus 4 times a times c. And we're going to use that to determine if there's 2 real solutions, 0 real solutions, or 1 real solution. So go ahead, pause the video, figure it out on your own. When you finish, unpause the video, and we can go over it all together. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to go over this all together. So again, our A value here is 1, B is 12, and C is 36. So we substitute those numbers in, and we get 12 squared minus 4 times 1 times 36, which ends up being 144 minus 144, and that gives us 0. So if our solution is 0, that means I have 1 real solution. Make sure that when you get the solution of 0, that you have 1 real solution, not no real solutions. That's a really common mistake. So we can use that discriminant, or that b squared minus 4ac, to determine how many solutions there are. If there are 2 real solutions, we want to keep going in our quadratic formula, which is what we'll talk about in the next video. If it equals 0, we also want to keep going, but we know there's only going to be 1 real solution. And lastly, if it equals a negative number, then we know that that means there's going to be no real solutions. So please check out the next video on how we will use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations.